The Resident Evil Village trailer is out, and it's a heck of a doozy. A long-running series like Resident Evil has a rich bevy of tradition and lore to draw upon, and Capcom has not at all been shy about including nods, winks, and nudges for the observant fan. So let's go over some of those then, shall we?
Them with a dark, cold silence. The bush is empty. Yet determined to find the berries, the rascal broke free of...
To start with, one of the obvious points is that Ethan Winters and his first-person perspective is returning as the game's protagonist. Almost uniquely amongst Resident Evil protagonists, Ethan is a civilian, not a combat-trained cop or soldier, and someone who doesn't want to be there and is utterly terrified by many of the things he's forced to see. After the events of Resident Evil 7, Ethan is ready to settle back down into domestic bliss with his rescued wife Mia, when Chris Redfield bursts onto the scene in the most dramatic way possible to turn his life upside down once again. Yes, Chris is back, and there are significant hints that he might not be quite a hero. Leaving aside his darker and more brooding character art featured on the Resident Evil Village website, he also makes an explosive entrance in the reveal trailer by emptying an entire pistol clip into a bloodied woman lying on the ground in front of Ethan, possibly Mia, to Ethan's anguished cry of why. While it may be well that there's more going on to the story, it's clear that Capcom is enjoying the ambiguity of Chris's role and will likely carry that on into the game itself, leaving players guessing as to whether Chris has finally cracked under the strain of spending almost his entire adult life fighting the undead and other bioweapons. Those looking for a more positive spin on shooting a helpless woman multiple times might be able to find it in one puzzling piece of key art that the devs teased as being so important that they debated whether or not to show it in the announcement trailer. One of the repeated motifs in the trailer is a symbol first seen hung above a prominent gate, then seen elsewhere painted in white across various surfaces. Consisting of what looks like a mutated fetus ringed in wood, crossed by a pair of raven wings and wreathed with dead twigs, it's been noted that the final symbol has a more than passing resemblance to the Umbrella Corp logo of Resident Evil notoriety. Not only that, but the focus on the mutated fetus is intriguing. Given Resident Evil 7's use of child experimentation, Ethan and Mia both having been infected by the mold in the previous game, and the trailer's repeated focus on a mother cradling a baby, it's not unlikely that the plot of Resident Evil Village might somehow feature Ethan and Mia's child being infected by bioweaponry, and Chris's actions might potentially make more sense in light of that. The creepy coat umbrella symbol has other implications, however. The fetus featured in the symbol has a particularly elongated tail, and while fetuses do indeed commonly have some kind of tail, this takes on extra significance given that the trailer features a werewolf, or at least Resident Evil's take on a werewolf. A furred former human with great sharp teeth and violent feral behavior, along with the fact that the game is set in Romania and that the trailer also features a posh-looking lady sucking blood from Ethan's wrist and another one exploding into a swarm of insects or possibly bats. It seems like Resident Evil Village is going back to some old classic horror settings to change things up from the usual zombies. Hang on, Romania. Where was this mentioned? Well, the developer commentary video on the trailer at one point brought up the new inventory screen that noted the game's currency was denoted in lei Romania's currency. Romania, let it be noted, is the modern form of what was once the Principality of Moldavia and Wallachia. And as most horror buffs are likely to recognize, Wallachia was the home of Vlad the Impaler, commonly known as the inspiration for Count Dracula. Again, practically confirming that Capcom wants to play around with vampires and werewolves. The inventory screen reveals also brought up something quite interesting. While they still use a similar slot-based inventory system to more recent Resident Evil games, it's been noted that the inventory screen is now part of a larger briefcase, in that its items have more nuances in size, such as a pistol taking up 3x2 slots of space, as opposed to almost all items taking up 1 or 2 slots. Fans are noting the potential callback to Resident Evil 4's inventory system, with its Tetris juggling, and indeed the inventory isn't the only callback to Resident Evil 4. With its focus on a quaint, fearful village overlooked by a castle with scheming nobility. It's hard not to think of Los Iluminados and the Castilian Ramon Salazar, And while reactions to this tidbit might be more mixed, the devs have noted that they intended to up the ante on the action a bit. Whatever you might think about the series taking a step back towards action, the titular village is liable to keep your attention. While Resident Evil 7 was a dark parody of isolated rural America, Resident Evil Village seems to look more at the insular, suspicious atmosphere of an isolated European village. The paranoia and hostility displayed towards strangers have shades of Transylvanian villagers warning outsiders not to go near the castle and locking up at sunset. From the looks of things, where Resident Evil 4's approach to village life was to descend immediately into gunplay, it seems like Resident Evil Village is going to be taking a more measured pace of Resident Evil 7 as its guiding principle. Capcom knows what fans want, and the trailer prominently notes obvious places to hunt for emblems to unlock doors with, proving once again that nobody in the Resident Evil universe seriously believes in keys or bogged standard locks. One of these emblems features the actual old red umbrella logo, however strongly hinting at the source of the shenanigans going on in the village. On the whole, there's a lot to like and a lot to look forward to in the Resident Evil Village trailer. There's no release date other than 2021 as of yet, but we know it's coming out on the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, and Steam. And Capcom is promising further updates in August, to of course whet your appetite until then. For now, all that's left to do is for fans to exhaustively comb the trailer frame by frame and reference various rumors, leaks, and lore to lay out the entire plot of the game. Hopefully, they'll leave us with at least some suspense once the game gets released though. And there you have it.
Chris? Sorry, Ethan. Why?